Game over, guys. Google just cooked the internet. It's over. Google search is changing forever. It's not going to be good for websites or good for, I don't think, anybody surfing the internet looking for information. I think Google is going to push information to you, and it's probably going to be information coming from their vetted partners.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is not new. I mean,
No.
it's like the final boss stage of what we've been telling you was going on. We've been telling you this. If you've been watching our videos, then you know we've been telling you that Google was changing all this stuff and it was destroying the internet, destroying websites. Said about it many, many times. And you know, this is the same thing, except it's like basically now you're not even gonna be able to see the other sites at all. I mean, you can. I think it did my phone yesterday, but you had to go scroll the whole way down. You could find sites, but they're gonna get it from their trusted partners, but they're also gonna scrape everybody else too, but not give you credit.
Yeah, so what's going on is Google is actually changing its search, and they're going to go all in on AI. Now, they've been rolling out AI snippets for about a year and a half now, where when you search for something, you get an overview of what it is that you're searching for, and that's great, except that nobody...
still links it somewhat to things, though.
Yeah, but nobody actually goes there, right? People don't go to the websites anymore. So that's what they're doing. They're basically summarizing the information for you, putting it on the Google search page. People are not going to these websites, and you just have to trust me, bro. This is accurate. This is what, you know, is actually being said. They're not mangling things.
Like when they were training themselves on Reddit? You mean like that? Because I can say for a fact those AI things were wrong several times. When I looked up, I'm like, that's not right. I know that's not right.
Yeah.
This is what they were training on Reddit.
Yeah, so they're actually taking, and I've noticed this too with the AI snippets anyway, is that they'll take like 3 or 4 different sources and try to merge it together into one coherent overview, and sometimes they contradict each other, and then you get this like really disjointed thing, right? Mm-hmm. And but anyway, what they're going to do now is they're basically going to get rid of, as I understand it, these search results completely. So when you go to Google, you look up something, now you get the AI snippet, and then you get, you know, some of the website links underneath that, but apparently they're going to get rid of all of that. And
well, I know yesterday I looked something up, and when I clicked on the question I wanted answered, it was basically just them answering everything and giving you stuff. There was no links to be, you know, had with it. I had to go back, and then when I scrolled down past like the potential questions and answers thing, I did find websites there, but for the most part, it's just going to circumvent everybody else. So
yes,
the websites were already down 70%, 90%, whatever. Now they're just going to be non-existent for traffic, unless I think you pay them and you're part of their network. Yeah. And here's the thing: remember net neutrality? They were all going to push it in. Basically, corporations and businesses could pay all this money. It was going to hurt like mom and pop, little people websites, you know what I mean? It was like, it was going to hurt them. And people, you know, fought against it, and they got it, you know, shot down. Well, that's okay. Barely an inconvenience. They just wait a few years, and then Google is just going to do it this way. And then Google gets to take all the money from the companies. Yeah. That'll probably pay it to make sure they get found.
That's what's going on. Google is basically transitioning into being a publisher, and they want you to be in their walled garden. And if you want to be found, you're going to have to pay.
I have to wonder, is this going to apply in India? Are they still going to be able to find the little people websites in India?
That's a whole nother discussion. We have theories about what's going on with Google and YouTube and so many other tech companies right now, given who's in charge and who they seem to be hiring. But that's a whole nother discussion. Actually, you can find that discussion out on more.clownfishtv.com. We actually do have a discussion about what's going on, what we think is going on with YouTube, and some of the channels that they're promoting over other channels, and they do seem to come from a certain geographic area. Mm-hmm. It is very interesting that all of a sudden all these channels from a certain geographic region are being boosted as we have leadership coming in from a certain geographic region. I'm just saying maybe it's a coincidence, maybe it's not a coincidence. But let's talk about this. So thank you very much to our reefers for supporting these videos. This is coming from TechCrunch, and we'll go out to the Google blog. And yeah, we've been talking about this for about 2 years now. And the reason that we were paying attention to it is that I'm going to use past tense at this point. We had several niche websites that we ran past tense
years,
15 plus years. And they were consistent month after month. Traffic was consistent. We had the SEO down, whatever. None of that matters now. And the reason that we were kind of sounding the alarm on the YouTube side, and we tried to tell people, hey, if Google's doing this to websites, they're going to do it to YouTube. And then the algorithm shifts happened, and people are like, we don't understand. Why would Google screw us over? I'm like, well, let me tell you a little story about the businesses we had that got completely decimated by an algorithm change. And that's the problem. Anytime you build your house on somebody else's sand, it's never secure. And I think
unfortunately, Google has set it up that you can't build anything unless it's on their sand.
Even advertising, like if you want to build a website, okay, fine, we're going to go build our own website. Well, guess what? If you want to get good ads, you're going to have to go through Google because they're the gatekeepers for all this stuff.
Right. They have entirely too much power, and it's going to create a huge, ripple effect throughout several industries, and nobody's doing anything about it, probably because people who have the power to do anything about it are, heavily invested in it.
Well, I mean, there's a reason everybody's like, oh, Google's the good guys. They like to ban the bigots. Well, there's a reason that Sundar Pichai was, standing behind Trump at the inauguration. They're not going to do shit, they're not. It's all uniparty anyway, but that's a whole nother discussion. Anyway, this is coming from...
I was talking about that to our son, but anyway.
Yeah, it's two sides of the same coin. This is coming from TechCrunch. Google search as you know it is over. It said the era of the 10 blue links is officially over. At its Google I/O conference on Tuesday, Google unveiled an AI-powered overhaul of search centered around a reimagined intelligent search box, basically Gemini, what the company describes as the biggest change to the entry point to the web since the search box debuted more than 25 years ago.
Yes, but here's the thing. This is what pisses me off. And I'm gonna bring it here a minute. This is what pisses me off about this. It's basically the same thing as like we saw with, web comics and stuff like that. They got to make themselves that they were in everything. They got to be the preferred browser on everything. And now they used 25 years of people building everything up and doing all the work, and they're just gonna come in and take it all.
Yeah, well, people gave Google the power. That's what
it should have been under fire from a monopoly years before this.
Yes, Google shouldn't have been allowed to get as big as they got, and they basically there were a lot of backroom deals that got them to this point. But the people turned the power over to Google because we used to have multiple search engines. There used to be multiple points of entry to the web. In fact, there were so many different search engines. For somebody going on the internet for the first time, it was daunting. And a lot of people just kind of played it safe and they stayed on like America Online or whatever.
And Yahoo.
And Yahoo was the internet at one point in time too. So I keep trying to remind people that like just because Google is the biggest player now doesn't mean they're always going to be. And I keep saying this and people think I'm crazy, but I keep saying this. I think there will be another internet.
There has to be.
That comes up alongside this. Like this will be the AI infested corporate internet. And then we're going to have basically the people net and people are going to build their own internet because this one's unusable.
But bold of you to assume that places like Google are going to let that happen. Suddenly, no one will do anything to keep them in check, but then they'll have all the power to stop anybody else from doing anything else, to be a competitor, when they already arguably have a monopoly as it is.
All right. So TechCrunch goes on to say, instead of returning a simple list of links, Google Search will drop users into an AI-powered interactive experience. Google's also introducing tools that can dispatch information agents to gather information on a user's behalf, along with tools that let users build personalized mini apps tailored to their needs. So basically, this could wipe out social media too.
Well, if I'm looking for something, I need to look at quickly. I don't need an interactive experience. I just want the fucking information.
So here's what they're showing. So here we are, gallery. Okay, so looking at pictures or looking at whatever. Ask Google, what is help me find a similar dress but in this color scheme and under $150. And it just goes out, and yeah. That's basically.
But it kind of said now, but I mean, like that what they're showing isn't anything that's very concerning. It's like, help me find a dress to go shopping. Okay, that's not too concerning. The issue is that it's not just there. It's about everything. It's about news. It's about opinion. Their AI is going to form opinions based on stealing other people's stuff.
And it's going to be Reddit. It's always going to be Reddit. Like Reddit's going to be the top of the search for it because they have a deal with them until they don't, because Google's actually building their own Reddit-like out the back door. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be a really interesting situation for Reddit because most of their money is coming from like all these AI companies wanting their data. I'm like, it's faulty user-generated, opinionated data. Why are you training the AI on this shit?
I don't know. And I'm sitting here like, I don't know if people expect it. We've been telling you. You know, everybody's acting all shocked and surprised. I'm like, there's no shock and surprise. If you've been listening, we've been telling you this. We've been trying to say, hey, people, it's a problem. Hey, guys, over here, it's a problem. Now they're like, oh, my God, it's a problem. I'm like, no shit.
Yeah, so what they're going to do is when they give you results, they're basically going to give you a bulleted list or images or whatever.
That's what they did for me yesterday, yeah.
And the websites are going to be off to the side. And I'm going to tell you.
Okay, at least they're putting them off to the side. On your phone, it wasn't.
It's references, but nobody's going to click on that. Nobody's going to click on that. Already, Google, the AI overviews have completely destroyed the publishing space because what they're doing, again, they're just summarizing stuff. Same with like if you talk about video game guides, or you talk about like, oh, I want to know what people think about this movie or whatever. And I get it on the user end, it's easier to just have a 1-paragraph summary of what's going on if the information is valid. But then what's going to happen is we're not going to have a lot of publishers with different voices because most of those publishers are going to go out of business. The only ones that are going to survive are the ones that are making the deals. New York Times, the CNNs.
Yeah, so my next question is, how easy is it going to be to control the narrative?
Very. When you've only got like 5 or 6 publishers that matter because they're the ones who made deals with Google. And so all of your news is coming from mainstream media because nobody else can afford to compete with Google.
Well, here's the thing, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem anyway because people are deliberately not going to them because they want to hear different opinions and they want to. So my recommendation is, 1, click on the websites when you see them. If there's website links, click on the websites. Don't even go to, just ignore Google, go to them. 2, if you have websites that you follow and you support them like crazy. But I think what's going to be is people are going to have to start showing Google they don't want this shit. I don't know. I mean, drop your stock, don't use Google. I mean, there's other stuff out there. There was a DuckDuckGo and Bing and stuff like that. Use other places. But unfortunately, Google, we've talked before, has gone in trouble because they wouldn't make deals with all the cellular phones and everything. All your search stuff has to be through Google. It really is. We said then, it's like a monopoly then. And why it's allowed to keep going on. The only thing I could think of, because they've gone after many other companies for far less, is because some people have their hands in the pockets and their Google's hands are in their pockets and they're getting paid. That's the only thing that makes sense. Because why else would they break up other things for far, far less?
Well, again, when the CEO of Google is standing behind Trump at the inauguration, all these tech companies are like I said, as long as the money's flowing, they're not going to do anything.
But you'd think, well, as I said, they're paying off politicians. But you'd think, in my opinion, you would think that, given that only certain narratives would be allowed to be given to the people and what has happened in the past with mainstream media, that you would think he'd be like, you know what I mean?
Politicians only care if it affects them personally.
Well, right? Yeah, it affects their wallet.
I mean, so if like their support base or whatever is getting silenced, they're going to care. What's going to happen? And they're not going to see it right away because let's be honest here. Watching politicians grill Facebook or watching even the UFO stuff or whatever, we have a lot of meatheads in office that don't understand tech at all. Like they don't understand basic. Like it's amazing you can find your email.
That's true.
They don't understand the ramifications of what's going to happen. We're talking the entire internet is going to be taken over more or less by one company because that's what everybody's going to use. And all these alternative voices or any alternative voices are going to be choked out. And people are like, oh, good. That means the chuds are going to get owned and Reddit. It's like, no, you don't understand. 2 sides of the same coin. That means if the chuds are getting shut down, so is your pro-socialist whatever newsletter that you're not going to get found. And all these websites, and we've already seen a lot of journalists lose their jobs, and I know some journalists are shit and they probably shouldn't be working in journalism, but we're going to talk legit journalists trying to give an alternative to the CNNs and the NBCs and whatever. They're not going to get found either. All your news is going to come from a handful of sources that play ball with Google.
And Reddit for some
and Reddit.
But like I was looking at there have been, and I knew there have been lawsuits against them. The DOJ has done lawsuits for antitrust and stuff. One was about monopoly involving digital advertising because basically they were like they were buying up the small one. The companies acting like they were different companies, but they were just self-dealing. And then the other one was, they're talking about how they got themselves, they paid billions to get Apple and Samsung and stuff to make Google the default engine on those devices. Okay, that's great, but you're not doing anything about the fact that they're monopolizing all the search traffic and that they're going to put there's already been tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of jobs lost. This is going to exacerbate that to the extreme, but they don't care because AI, more data centers.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this is just to prove the value of AI. Like we're seeing AI shoved into things that it doesn't really make sense for it to be shoved into. And this is going to crater because a lot of their money, a lot of Google's money actually came from publishers promoting their stuff or whatever. And there's not going to be any point. You're not going to have like independent storefronts on the internet anymore. You're going to have to go through like an eBay or an Amazon or something.
It's going to go back to what it was before the internet existed.
AOL. It's AOL.
No, I wasn't going to say that. Even before that, where like only the elite, the rich could ever be the ones to pay to get your attention. And that they were the Hollywood, once again, the celebrities get to be the celebrities and no one else can compete against them. You know what I mean? It's like it's already like back to like only like 1% get to control everything, and that's what they're doing and they're setting up to do. And it's absolute dog shit because the internet opened up, anybody had a chance. Well,
that's the problem. No, that's exactly what the problem is.
Especially if you're in America. If you're in another country, then it's fine.
Yeah, we're seeing this happen. We're seeing this happen with Hollywood right now. We've done videos on this time about YouTube, and that actually is a video out on more.clownfishtv.com because we really just let her fly over there. But YouTube, Hollywood is pushing into YouTube heavily, and that's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be Hollywood comes into YouTube, pushes out the content creators, right? The independent voices that you like.
Because they have deals.
Yeah, and you were a little selfish here because it does include people like us, but it includes all the people that you listen to that have, different takes on things that are not mainstream. All those people are going to get pushed out. You're going to have the Trevor Noahs put in, and then Google's new search is only going to promote Trevor Noah's videos because they're vetted, approved.
Yeah, then there's little people being like, "Oh no, I'm getting all these views." It's like until you're monetized, and then suddenly you won't get any views anymore.
Yeah, isn't that weird how that works? Like as soon as you get monetized now on Google, all of a sudden it's like, "Oh yeah, your channel's problematic. You're not getting."
Oh no, because Google could take 100% of the money before, and then
that's what this share. At the end of the day, that's what this is all about. Is they do not want to send you to publisher websites, even though the publisher websites are probably using Google Ads because they have to share with them. They want you on their page where they get all the money. All the money.
That's why it's a monopoly in so many levels. And I'm sorry if they don't get pissed at me, whatever. But it's like, they literally build up themselves and gobbled up everything, and they were allowed to do it. People sat by silently. People who are in power that are their job is to watch this shit sat by silently, probably making lots of money from sitting by silently. Again, my opinion. And then they're now that they have all the control, they're like, well, now it's our ecosystem. We're going to shove everybody out. We're just going to make it all about us, and we keep everything. And it's like people are going to have to start standing up against this shit. And I think like I was talking to our son the other day. It's like revolutions have started for less. I'm just saying, you are literally creating your own enemies at this point, where before, if you worked together and you had an ecosystem where you benefited, other people benefited, and it worked together, and it was a harmonious ecosystem, and it was working great, and you still were making all the money and getting to keep most of the money. And it worked really well for years, and now they just got effing greedy. And there's been one person in particular over at YouTube that has been behind a lot of the changes that have been terrible.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, they get to be put in charge. And Google, same thing. So here we are.
Yeah, it is interesting, though. This is a TechCrunch. I feel like TechCrunch is writing their own obituary because I don't think they're going to be part of the in crowd, right? Because I don't think they have the money for it. But they said combine these changes will further decimate Google referrals to publishers, which have already been suffering from declining referrals due to AI overviews. Mm-hmm. This has put some ad-dependent media operations out of business. Now things will likely get worse. There's little time left for publishers to adapt. The new search box is arriving this week, and generative UI is arriving this summer. Both are free. The mini app building feature and information agents will roll out first to Google AI Pro and Ultra subscribers this summer.
If I were you guys, I would reject it.
Yeah, they said Google's long-term plan is to make its AI technology more broadly accessible, including its personal AI agent Spark, which will eventually be free, as will many of the AI features. They're like, it's a good thing, guys. They're like, part of the reason we focus on delivering frontier models, highly capable, but also efficient, fast, at lower prices, because we want to bring it to as many people as possible. And so I think it's an area where we will shine.
They want to take everything. It's not about helping you because it's free. It's about them keeping, because it's not free, and it's never free. This stuff is never free. Someone's paying for it. They get to keep everything. Yeah. And then you want record profits, and then no one will do anything to stop it.
Yeah, and like I said, the only solution at this point is to let there be a corpo internet, and then other people just get together.
Or use other search engines and just take their power away. But unfortunately, all the devices have it on there.
Yeah, because I mean this is the problem when they have Chrome, and Chrome is the most adopted, browser out there. And they were going to take, the DOJ was going to take Chrome from them, and they backed off on that. But it's I mean,
I'm sure that they paid out well for that.
I'm sure they did. So it's Microsoft and Google. Microsoft has the operating system. If Google could get away with being your desktop operating system too, they would do it. But I think we almost need, if the mainstream internet is Windows, we need a Linux equivalent that is more of a user generated internet. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, I mean, there are other versions of the internet, but I'm talking like that the general public is going to be aware of. Like, this is the other web. Go over here because we don't have all this stupid shit. And
that's what's going to have to take. I mean, it's like people, you got to take the power away from them, and that's the problem. Unfortunately, the issue we're going to have is that like people like us are on here, and if you take power away from them, what happens to the people like us on YouTube? You know what I mean? But they already destroyed all of the websites, and they've already destroyed a whole. I mean, people are still hanging in there, but there's really no point unless you're part of another ecosystem that you can get found. Which there
websites
are.
There are. Websites are cooked though, like independent websites. I mean, we've been kind of back and forth for the last year or so with some of our sites. I'm like, is there even a point? And then after this, I'm like, oh, that's it. Like, we're done. There's no, like, I don't think there's any coming back from this. And we're a small operation. I can't imagine companies that have, a couple hundred people.
People were already laying off all their staff before this. And this is why, because when they started adding this stuff, we've been telling you, when they started adding this stuff to websites, even before that, they were not letting people be found. And then they started adding the AI and all that crap. It has been decimated, and people have lost their jobs and everything else over it already. And now this is going to wipe out what's left. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, and people thought, I know the comments on this video where I said goodnight internet, like everything we've known about the internet is going to end here pretty soon. And they thought it was hyperbole. They thought I was being alarmist. I'm like, no. I've been on the internet since the internet began, pretty much.
You were your first jobs were building websites when people didn't know how to build websites.
In the 90s. I was building websites in the 90s. I've been here since the beginning. I've seen it all, Gandalf. And I'm telling you, this is the kill shot for the internet that we've known. And here it is. And now.
So you got to just, make a new one.
Yeah, I told you so's not gonna fix it. It's too late. And people have been trying to sound the alarm for years now, and they're like, it's okay, it's gonna be fine, guys.
The thing is, general public isn't gonna care. It's like, it's faster and easier. They don't care. They're gonna be like, data centers suck, but I want to keep Google, not realizing that that's what's funding this stuff. Don't keep the data centers near my house, but then they keep using AI stuff to do it. So,
but I sure do like to post funny videos on Facebook.
I can't say much. You use AI sometimes on the videos.
I do. I use AI. I use AI as a tool. And I'm okay with using it as a tool. I think it's being massively oversold though, because I know as someone who uses it that it still requires a lot of hands-on tweaking to get the desired results. But they're just trying to push it as hard as they can. And they might blow themselves up in the process. They might spend so much money on AI that there's no possible way they could ever make it back. And they've alienated the audience, and they might be like, but
they also made it so you can't use anything else. So
yeah, pretty much are forcing it on you. So there we go, guys. If you even do a Google search, if you're anti-AI and you use Google at all, you're using AI.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yep. So we're going to wrap it up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.